Hey, what's up, Crypto Army? I'm Travis, your crypto newbie, bringing you my experiences. You have to learn things the hard way. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor, and none of my content should be viewed as financial advice. So today we're going to talk about a project that is launching tomorrow, or I should say their pre-sales tomorrow, and their launch is the day after. But for many of you that are looking for pre-sales, that's the same as saying they're launching tomorrow. So let's go ahead and jump right into iPay token. Now, this is their website, and I'm going to put all the links that I discuss in this video in the description. So all you have to do is click those to get to these places, whether it's the Pinksale or their BSC scan. I'm going to put every link that I cover on this video in there, just to make it a little easier for y'all. Now, as far as how this token is currently built out, their website's phenomenal, and I'm going to go pretty in depth into that. Their Discord server, not so much. I actually asked for clarification because when I went into their Discord server, it was really just the announcements and I'm not seeing a CAPTCHA. So I did hear in one of the AMAs I did today that the Discord server isn't really built out yet. And if it's just the announcements, I would have to agree. As somebody that prefers Discord, I'm really hoping they put some effort into building out their Discord. There's a lot of people in their Telegram. They've got almost 9,000 people inside their Telegram right now. So it's a pretty robust number of people that are following this project. And I'm going to explain a little bit on why that is like that. But I would like to see their Discord built out a little bit just because it's easier to find information. And I did have some problems with getting information for this. I've sat through 2 of their AMAs today just to try to get a good picture and a good grasp on what this project is about. Now, I'm not going to guarantee that every piece of information that I provide is 100% accurate, but we're going to go a lot off their website and the information, so that information will be right. But I'm going to try to cover some of the aspects from the AMA as well, but they haven't posted them, so I could re-listen to them and make sure I get the information jotted down correctly. So that's my caveat, is make sure you do your own research, and you should always do that anyway when you're looking into pre-sales, or any project for that matter. Now, full disclosure, I have not been given a whitelist. I have not been asked to cover this project. I did not get asked to do any kind of sponsored content of any kind for this project. I'm covering this project on my channel because I think it's an interesting project and I think a lot of y'all will be interested in checking it out. But I am trying to get a whitelist for this project, and if doing content gets me a whitelist, I'm okay with getting a whitelist for this project, because I plan on buying into this project, and the whitelist is a great opportunity to buy into a project that you're planning on buying into. So I would be stupid not to try to get a whitelist. So I have done the whitelist process, and I'm going to put the link in the description for that as well, but it is ending soon. So depending on when I get this video posted and when you see the video, it might already be done. And I do apologize. I just happened to find this project this morning. So that was the earliest I could really get the information out there, just so I could do my own research to see if this was a project I wanted to cover on the channel. Now, iPay token's interesting in that the token is launching after the utility. Most projects launch the token and then the utility. Now, that's why I'm excited about this project, because they've already launched the utility. And we're going to get to that in a second. I've actually registered for both of them, and I'm going to show you both platforms. Now, I haven't gone through certain aspects of both of those platforms yet, unfortunately, but in the interest of time and getting this material out to you, I'll show you that on a future video once it's approved. All right, so their website follows the standard flow. Click on a button, get navigated to that section. Pinksale is right here if you want to go check that out. And again, we're going to look at that. Again, all of their socials are here as well. I don't look at Instagram. I'm not even sure that I have an Instagram account. I do have a Reddit account, but I don't usually check that out on the channel. I have looked at the Discord. There are some announcements in there, but that's really the only thing I could see. And then obviously they get the Telegram and their Twitter. The contact address, I'm not sure why they haven't put that in there, because it's already available since it's already on Pinksale. And the contract address is there. My recommendation to the team, prior to launch, it would probably be good to put it in here just to avoid any potential scam tokens that launch at the exact same time to try to compete with this project. I would put it right here. I think that's the safest approach, and it looks like you're ready for that. It just hasn't been done yet. And if you hadn't guessed, fans, and it's actually called Ifans, it's hard to see on the screen here. It looks a lot like a subscription service, and you would be right. It is a subscription service. Now, we're going to take a look at this a little bit, but you can already see the interface, at least from a content creator like myself. it looks very familiar. And other content creators that are looking at that interface are going to say, hey, that looks really familiar to YouTube. You'd be right. It's very similar. Now, again, I haven't been into the system, so I can't confirm, but I'm fairly certain that when I do get into the system, and I'm not necessarily going to get into this one as a content creator, but I'm guessing it's probably going to look a lot like this. Now, let's keep going down here. So you got the purpose, the problem. I recommend reading this. It walks you through the problem that they've identified and kind of what their solution is. But we're going to keep going through just in the interest of brevity and to make sure this video isn't too long. Tokenomics. Now you can see here they've got a total supply of 1 billion tokens. They've already burned 150 million. So when you look at Pinksale and you see 850 million total supply, that's why that says that versus this saying 1 billion. Tax, 11%. 1% goes towards a smart burn. 1% the community gets to decide, which is kind of interesting. And then you've got 3% to buyback and 6% to development and marketing. Now, they do plan to put a lot of money into marketing both before and after their launch. And as I said, I've already been in 2 of their AMAs today, and they've got another one planned for later tonight. There's quite a bit of money going into their pre-launch marketing right now. And I think they said they've got about $150,000 set aside for marketing after launch. So they've actually got quite a bit already in there, but they also plan on developing other aspects of their ecosystem beyond what they've already done. And they spent the last 2.5 years building their platform. That's a long time. And the platform looks pretty good. Again, I'm not usually into the aesthetics, so you have to judge for yourself on whether it's pretty good, but it looks pretty good to me so far. Now, if we look at this dev marketing section, it says this tax is for funding the development of iPay token and its use cases, including Ifans.com, which I showed you in the picture above, FameLink.com, which we haven't talked about yet, the NFT marketplace, partnerships, and integrations. And the integrations, they're building it in such a way that their way of using iPay token as a cryptocurrency pay system can be integrated into any website. So it sounds kind of similar to, say, SafeMoon Connect, where you can tip with cryptocurrency or you can subscribe using cryptocurrency. And it's more of like an integrated API is kind of how it is described. But again, I'm still getting into this system as well. So I've still got a couple more questions on exactly how this is going to look and how it works. But that's kind of how I envision it. And when we get into the system, I'll show you how it currently is set up and what I think it might look like after they integrate it. Let's keep going down here. Token distribution and the platforms. So let's go ahead and actually take a look at the platforms quick while we're here. All right, so here is FameLink, and you can see that I'm logged in. You've got the feed, notifications, create a post. It seems kind of similar to Twitter in how the feed is set up and creating posts is set up. And then you get your messages, all the different categories, which you can kind of see they've got a lot of them. I could see this getting developed out a little bit. Where would you put crypto in this? If you're looking for crypto entertainers, for example, maybe in the business section. So I would say that there's probably a couple categories that would be beneficial in this, but there isn't a category inside of YouTube yet. So I'm not exactly sure what you would call it, whether it's, maybe it's finance, but again, I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not exactly sure. Is it entertainment? Maybe. And YouTube's got this exact same issue. They have an option of classifying your content, and as a YouTuber that covers cryptocurrency, we generally take entertainment, I think. At least that's what I've been doing on a lot of my videos, but I could be doing that wrong. There's no how-to for doing that. But that would be the question I've got here. And when you click on some of these, you can kind of see where it gets kind of messy. Is if I click on food, for example, you're not necessarily going to see a bunch of content about food. There's going to be food content in there, but there's going to be a whole bunch of other stuff also. And I'm not sure if that's just people that are picking the wrong category. I'm not 100% sure. And then you get your trending creators down here. Let's keep going down here. Trending photos. Most interesting. I wonder how you define most interesting. I don't personally find that overly interesting, but maybe somebody does. And then it just goes through all the different stuff that's been posted. So it's kind of interesting. Now this portion of their ecosystem is defined as their safe for work portion. So this is something you could open up at work and feel reasonably confident that you're going to be okay viewing the material that's on here. The other one is termed not safe for work. So they've basically subdivided their ecosystem into two parts based off of the 18 plus content and the stuff that's safe for everything else. But I wouldn't necessarily say this is safe for kids. It might be, but you might run into some problems as far as language. Again, I don't know enough about the ecosystem and exactly how everything works to say that this would be safe for, say, a 14-year-old or a 10-year-old. I would, if I was a parent of a teenager, which I am, and I wasn't sure about it, I probably wouldn't add this website to the list of things that they could view until after I've gone through and looked at it. But the same could be said for YouTube, because there's a lot of stuff on there that I don't think is appropriate for teenagers either. So this may be in the exact same category as, say, YouTube or even OnlyFans now that they've gotten rid of a lot of their adult content. Let's click on some stuff and look around a little bit. So let's look at entertainment. And we'll pick this one. So as you can see, we land in here and you've got the subscribe button right here, or you can send a tip. And this is what made me think of SafeMoon Connect, was the option for send a tip. Let's click on send a tip. Tip amount, message, and then you add your payment. And my guess is that when you add a new card, you're probably going to have two options here. You'll have a card or you'll have the crypto option. Now, if you go over here to subscribe for $14 a month, and again, I suspect that this is just going to give you options to use crypto instead of money. But right now you can use a credit card to do subscriptions. Like I said, this is a fully stood up platform. It's already here. It's launched. All they need to do is integrate their iPay tool into this in order to use cryptocurrency as part of the platform. Yeah, kind of crazy, right? 2.5 years between this and the other portion to develop this system. Now, the underlying system for both of these is supposed to be very similar. It's really just the top layer that's different between them. And even then, you're going to see some similarities between the two. But that's why they're able to do basically two different systems in 2.5 years. But 2.5 years is still a length of time. You can see they did a really good job of building it. It's a fully developed system that has a lot of people already in it. And by a lot of people, I'm saying it's got 5,000 people already in the system. That's a lot of people. Now, I don't know if it's 5,000 content creators or if it's a couple hundred content creators with 5,000 people that are actually using the system right now. I'm not clear on exactly what that breakout is, but just be aware that they've already got 5,000 people using the system. Now, when we look at the different options here, you can see you've got a 3-month package, a 6-month package, or a 12-month package. I'm guessing that the content creator builds these packages. I did look at a couple of them and the prices are different. So I think it's up to the content creator to define how these are going to work. Now, I've requested to be a content creator in the system. I'm just pending approval. So once that approval comes through, I'll be able to tell you more about how this works. All right, now before I go on, I'm about to switch over to the Ifans system. Now, the Ifans system is for adult content. So if you're not above 18, you probably shouldn't be looking at this. Although it shouldn't have a lot of craziness because I'm not actually going to click on anything that should show me anything. But if you're around your kids, you might not want them looking at the screen because they might see some stuff that you wouldn't want them to see, just for your awareness. All right, so this is the Ifans interface. And as you can see, it is definitely not for youngsters to be inside of. And no, I am not going to become a creator in this space. I don't think anybody wants to see that. So don't even bother asking because I have zero intentions of applying for an Ifans creator account. And you'll probably won't see me in this space again because I don't normally go into these kinds of websites. But this is what it looks like. And you can see very similar, just a lighter interface to the other one. Now, between the two interfaces, I kind of feel like this one should be the dark mode and the other one should be the white mode. Because if you're on this, and it was funny because I was listening to the AMA, and one of the rationales for why you would want to use crypto in this space is, well, if you're married or you're seeing somebody, you're dating somebody, you wouldn't want that charge to come up on the shared joint account or whatever it is, right? The credit card or the debit card. you might not want to have to explain it, and then it causes lots of issues because the person gets caught with it and says it must be a fraudulent charge and goes and tries to get the money back from whatever website they're on, and it turns into a whole big deal. And that's probably not going to happen with a crypto wallet. So there is that with using these websites, I suppose, is that it definitely provides a layer of separation between you and everybody else because it's your wallet address and probably nobody else has that information. But if it's light mode versus dark mode and you're looking at a website that maybe you shouldn't be on, you probably wouldn't want to have a bright screen illuminated. You'd probably want to have a dark screen. So I kind of feel like it should be flip-flopped, or at least have the option. Because if you're in a space where you're worried about your wife or girlfriend or whatever seeing it, you're probably going to want a dark screen. And again, that's just my thought process on this. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Goddess of Toes. It's probably the safer of the things to look at. And you can see here we've got subscriptions. Again, very similar interface to the other one. And you've also got send a tip. The only real difference, from what I can tell, is light mode versus dark mode. But otherwise, very similar. And obviously, there's a little bit different. You don't have the categories and that kind of stuff, but it's kind of interesting. And I would actually say, if we go back to the Ifans here, I kind of feel like there should be categories. Because if you're looking for, I'm not sure what this guy's category would be, but if you're looking for that kind of content versus what this kind of content probably is, you probably could find it a little faster if there's a category button. So I actually think that both systems would benefit from having categories. But there's a lot of stuff on here. We're not going to scroll too much because I don't want you to have to be separated from whoever would normally be around you when you're watching these for very long. So let's go back to the main page. All right, now that we're back on their main website, if we scroll down here, you can see other platforms, and this comes in with the integration, can do the exact same thing and integrate this capability into their platforms. So you might start to see iPay token in a lot of other platforms. And there was some indication that they've got some pretty big platforms already lined up to do exactly that. Now let's talk a little bit about the platforms and the payment system. I've already showed you that the payment system's up and running, it's active, and it will have the iPay token integration within a couple days of launch is kind of how I understood it, but it wasn't a specific date. They just said after launch, because they have to have the token in order to integrate it, that it'll be integrated inside of their website. It can take a couple days for them to actually integrate certain technologies into things and then make sure everything's going to work correctly. Now, how does it work? Now, most of us that have been following Evergrow Coin, we have an idea of how that system works. And it's not that far off here. The big difference is there are no fees at all for a content creator. None. Zero. So if you're a content creator, you get 100% of whatever you're tipped or whatever the subscriptions are. 100%. There's nothing off the top. And that should help alleviate some of what you would lose towards ad revenue if you're on a platform that gives you ad revenue, such as YouTube. But again, you're going to have to build that up. It's not going to be an overnight thing that all of a sudden you're going to get a whole bunch of subscription revenue that's going to offset ad revenue. And to be honest, for YouTube, you really don't make much money, so I don't know that you're necessarily going to get a lot at all. This is probably going to be beneficial to, say, Patreon or some of the other platforms out there where people are using those to augment what they're getting from YouTube. That's kind of how I see this is probably going to work. And it was the same thing for Evergrow Coin once they launched theirs. There are certain areas where it makes a lot of sense to move over. OnlyFans, great example. Patreon, great example. But you might not necessarily see a lot of YouTubers move over there unless they're on some of those other platforms where they're getting money taken off the top and not getting the full potential of their earnings. That's really the benefit here. Now, they're also going to incentivize using iPay, so that gets the volume of the token to go up. I don't exactly know what the incentivization is going to look like, but the idea is that they're going to encourage through some way to use the iPay token instead of other options. Because it was mentioned someplace, and I can't remember where I saw this, that they're going to have BNB and they're going to have Ethereum. They are going to have the ability to direct buy into iPay, it sounds like, where basically you buy it, but you buy BNB and it gets transferred over into iPay very seamlessly. Again, until we see it, it's going to be kind of hard to say exactly what's going to be good or bad about it. But if it's to the point where you put in a credit card and your fiat gets turned into BNB and then another button it gets turned into iPay, or it just automatically is directly into iPay, that'd be awesome, because that makes it incredibly easy to use. And again, whatever incentives or however they make it beneficial to use iPay, that'll really drive on whether this is going to be adopted big time for the crypto community or not, or with the volume and how that's really going to go back into the ecosystem. Again, this isn't a rewards token. You're not getting 8% BUSD or any kind of rewards or reflections. It's going into the ecosystem. Now, again, there's the fee for the buy and sell of tokens. So whenever you're buying iPay or whenever you're selling iPay, there's going to be that fee. There is no transfer fee, but you're not going to be able to transfer. For example, if you're a subscriber and you're subscribing to somebody's channel, you're not going to be able to transfer it directly to them. That's not going to be an option. Otherwise, you'd bypass the fee. But you are going to be able to transfer it between different wallets without a fee, which is kind of nice. Let's keep going down here. Some of the features. So they've got live streaming, but it's really coming down to some of this exclusive stuff. So I think some of the ways they're going to incentivize using iPay is it's just going to open up other things that you're going to want by using iPay versus, say, using a credit card or one of the other crypto options. I wouldn't even necessarily include other crypto options unless there is going to be a fee to the user, to the subscriber, not necessarily to the individual, but I think that you incentivize using iPay by deincentivize using other options. So if you have to pay a fee, you might be more willing to use iPay. That's just one option. I'm sure they've got some other ideas on how to make this work. A lot of really cool features built into this. Now, the internal and the external affiliate system is really awesome. So how the internal affiliate system works is, let's say that I'm on this system, and there's another YouTuber that's on the system, and I think he's got good content. I can put a link in the description of my video, or however that's going to be built into it, for his channel. When somebody clicks it from mine to go to his and subscribes or pays for content, I get some revenue. It's pretty cool, right? That's not a bad idea. And it's kind of the same thing with the external affiliate system. If I go put links on Twitter or some other social media platform and people click it, I'm going to get a little bit of revenue based off those clicks. And they have to obviously subscribe, I'm sure. I don't think there's any others that are doing that I'm aware of. And then we just keep going down, and they've got a lot of really good information here. And as you can see, the team is doxed. Here's the other caveat with this project. It's already launched before. So this is a relaunch of this project. And I watched some of the videos to see kind of what happened and why it had to relaunch. And basically what it was is there's a bunch of sales, like massive $100,000 sales before it even got listed on CoinMarketCap, and it drove the price down significantly. So to save the token, they basically pulled out the liquidity in order to put it into this. And there were some other issues with the contract that they built on the first version. Now this one has also been audited. There is an audit for this, so you can go check that out as well. And you can see that they've got the white paper up here. But they rebuilt the token. The first contract paired the token with BUSD, and there's a lot of negatives of pairing with BUSD, and it wasn't necessarily obvious that they're going to have a whole bunch of issues. Pretty much everything is built around the pairing of a token with BNB. So when everything is built around that, nothing really works the way that it's supposed to when you pair with something else. Now, that's different if you're launching on the Ethereum network. You pairing with Ethereum on the Ethereum network isn't going to cause a bunch of issues. If you're on the Binance network and you pair with BUSD, you're going to run into some problems. The team just wasn't aware of all the negatives that were going to come from pairing with BUSD. So they were able to fix that. This is going to be paired with BNB. It'll resolve all of the issues that they had there. Plus, they resolved some other contract issues on the relaunch. So this is actually going to be very beneficial for a lot of different reasons. But as you can see, the team is doxed. And then you can see the roadmap here. This video is already pretty long, so I'm not going to go too much longer. I really want to get this out there so that you can at least be aware of it and get ready for tomorrow's pre-sale if this is a project you find interesting. Now, just a couple quick things before we finish this video. Here's their Pinksale, and as you can see, it is whitelist only, so there's no public option during the Pinksale. It will launch tomorrow at 2100 UTC, and it will close down by 2300 UTC It has a soft cap of 700 BNB and 1400 BNB is their hard cap. And it tells you 1 BNB is going to be worth 50,000 iPay. Again, the link will be in the description of the video. And as you can see, they have the KYC process through Pinksale, and they've also done the audit. The audit is with InterFi. And again, I'll have the link for that in the description. I'm not going to go through in depth on the audit, but it does have an audit, KYC, and the team is doxed. Now, that's pretty much it for today's content. Hopefully found the content helpful. Again, I didn't want to hit everything in this just because I want to get it done and published so that you guys can watch it. Feel free to check out and do your own research. The other reason I want to get this out quicker is because they've been doing AMAs all day long. So if you're really interested in learning more about this project, you can go jump into AMA and ask questions. The team has been awesome. They've been answering questions all day long, and I think they're getting better every single time they do an AMA. I actually want to go back and listen to the last one because it was actually recording this video during that AMA. And obviously I can't do two things at one time, but I can edit a little bit at a time. And I was listening. It was actually a very good AMA, and they really kind of covered a lot of the same things that I covered in this to more depth. So the pay system, for example, and how the utilities feed the ecosystem, they did a really good job of summarizing that better than I could. I'll try to take as many notes as I can and then try to put them in here, but I'm focusing more on speed to get this to you rather than necessarily getting all the details into this. You really need to do your own research and look into this project, but I always look at projects that try to recoup a failed launch. And again, it made it 3 or 4 days. It wasn't like it had failed on day one. Projects that take the time to try to relaunch and fix the issues, that tells me it's not going to be a rug pull or scam. They would have already ran away the first time if that was the case, because they pulled out something like $350,000 in liquidity. So I'm fairly confident that it's not going to be a rug pull or scam. That doesn't mean it's not going to have problems on launch, because that can happen even if it's not a rug pull or a scam. But at least I'm not concerned about necessarily it being a rug pull or scam. That would be my thoughts on it. And I think it's got a lot of potential. The idea that they've already got utility, you're probably not necessarily going to see that normal J curve that follows the launch. Normally you spend a lot of time waiting for a utility. They already have it. They're ready to go. They're ready to implement the actual iPay portion of the system into the utilities they have after launch. That's phenomenal. So I'm really curious to see what happens with this project, especially since this is really phenomenal utility. And I said the same thing with Evergrow Coin. It's phenomenal utility. They're really trying to branch into some of those other systems out there. And those are millions and millions and tens of millions of dollars in revenue generating systems. So it should be very interesting to see what happens. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about iPay? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay strong with those diamond hands.